All right, sorry about that, guys. Tried to stream from a different room in my parents' house, and internet wasn't as strong there, so had to move back to my room here. But yeah, guys, it's good to be back doing a YouTube live stream. Hope you guys have had a good past week or so on NBA DFS. We have an 11-game slate to talk about here. A good amount of question marks still on this slate. So Embiid status currently up in the air. Paul George still questionable. Middleton questionable. I would say more on the doubtful side because he hyperextended his knee. Evan Mobley's questionable. D'Lo questionable but went through shoot around. Christian Wood doubtful, and you have the two Lakers guys there with LeBron and AD probable. And then we just got news recently that Marvin Bagley is out now. Let's see. Do we have any other updates? I think that is... Oh, Mo Bamba ruled out. Okay. So that's one we weren't really expecting. We'll monitor the starting lineup there, but possibly if a guy like Robin Lopez starts, he would be more in play. But yeah, guys, as always, this is going to be a Q&A live stream, so make sure to leave some questions in the chat. And please, if you guys do enjoy, just hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, so yeah, let's get to some questions, guys. Is Tate a good play? Are we talking about Jay Sean Tate? Yeah, with Christian Wood doubtful, Eric Gordon out, he's probably going to be one of their highest usage guys. He's sub 6K. I think he makes a pretty good play there in the mid-range. Hard time getting to Jokic with the dudes I want to play right now, not liking it. We just got a couple of guys that got ruled out, right, and like Bagley and Mo Bamba, so there's definitely more value that could open up with guys getting ruled out. So I don't think you have to play Jokic, but obviously he makes for a great spot up if you can go there. Paul George or Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James for more raw points. I don't have a good answer for that. What's the plan for Milwaukee? We got Chris Center out. I don't think he plays. Yeah, hyperextension takes a few days, usually longer than that. So right now I'm not expecting Middleton to play. Well, playoff Giannis, he still was out for like a week, right? He still missed the last game or two of the Hawks series, right? So I don't think Middleton plays. I don't at all. You think Paul George plays? Probably. Bamba out, yeah. Wood out, Sengun time. Yeah, so we'll see what they do the starting lineup. Sengun's a guy I've been, just hoping he's been getting for him to get more minutes. They really haven't, but the last few games they have tucked up a little bit. And he's just phenomenal when he's on the court, right? He's a phenomenal point per minute guy. This is a big front court, so I think assuming he stays out of foul trouble, we should get at least low to mid-20s minutes from Sengun, possibly more if he ends up starting. So I think he makes for a good play. I think we can, definitely consider Daniel Tice. I think KJ Martin becomes viable as well. The goat's back. Appreciate that, man. Thanks. Yeah, good to be back. Holiday looks good. Yep. Hope you enjoyed the trip. Yeah, man, it was nice to spend time with some family. So appreciate that. Guys, we're already up to 50 concurrent viewers. Thanks to everyone coming to check out the live stream. Again, make sure if you enjoyed to hit the like button. DK, do you like Sandro from the Bucks? No, not really. I think that's getting too cute. There's, just for example, we have the Rockets big. So like, why would you play Sandro over some of those Rockets guys with Christian Wood out? That's my opinion. There's just no need to go there. They can, outside of Bobby Portis, they can go to Thanasis Antetokounmpo. They can go a little bit smaller if need be. They have different options they can go to. So like, I think getting to Sandro is probably a bit much on this slate for me. I think it's getting a little bit too cute. Let's see. Bobby Portis. Yeah, so like we'll keep an eye on the status of Chris Middleton, but I think Portis probably plays somewhere between 32 to 35 minutes, somewhere in that range. He'll be productive when he's on the court. Again, the Pacers do run a bigger front court, so maybe he even plays 35 plus minutes. I think he makes for a good option. The only downside here really with Bobby Portis is he's only center eligible. where like I feel like that just recently happened. He's always had that power forward eligibility. Now they have him listed as just a center, and obviously we know the opportunity cost, right? Because center is, um, a great position. So, what's the opportunity cost of using Portis in one of your possibly two center spots? That's a question. But yeah, if there's no Middleton, like the offense is going to be Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis. Jokic looks he's basically always the guy I'm looking to at the top. Um, Other spin ups really more just tournament options for me. No one that I'm like in love with, but guys that are certainly playable. Yeah, DeAndre Jordan to go. So we'll see what they do the starting lineup. If he starts, I would think DeAndre Jordan probably gets at least 12 to 15 minutes, which would make him playable. If he comes off the bench, would be a little bit more worried about his minutes. The Lakers have shown they can now go small, right? Even with Anthony Davis off the court. So that's a worry with DeAndre Jordan, right? AD missed the last couple games. And Dwight and DeAndre Jordan did not play anywhere close to the full 48 minutes. Struss or Christopher or both. Probably Struss with Hero out. Favorite Heat, Lowry. Yeah. Bamba. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see who the Magic start. Like, that is a big front court against the Hawks. So if I had to guess, it probably would be Robin Lopez. Like, he started the last game that Mo Bamba was out. So if he in fact starts, I think he's firmly in play for value at 3-1. PJ Tucker going to score 18 fantasy points tonight, huh? Yeah, I don't think he's going to continue to average, 40 fantasy points the last 3 games. Now, again, he's been good. There's no doubt about it. Like, been averaging about 40. I think it's a little bit of an outlier. He's playable for value, but might be a little bit over-owned. I don't know if I necessarily trust going back to Tucker there. Can you play Middleton and Holiday in the same lineup if Middleton's healthy? Yeah, you can. I don't think Middleton plays, but if he does, those two are going to dominate the usage. And when Giannis was out previous years, it was always you play Bledsoe and you play Middleton, and now it's you play Drew Holiday and you play Middleton. If Mo was out, what do you think about Kevin Love? So would think his minutes might go up a little bit. Now I don't think Kevin Love would start. Like, they might throw like a Dean Wade in the starting lineup, or maybe Chad. Like, I just don't think they would start Kevin Love. So, but I do think the minutes he would probably get at least 20. And Kevin Love's been pretty productive this year, so firmly play for value. With Bagley out, is Met 2 in play? Yeah, the Kings can do a lot of different things, though, right? Like, I don't necessarily trust the rotation. They can go back to Terrence Davis, giving him minutes. So with Bagley out, you would think Met 2's minutes are more secure, but they could go a lot of different ways with this, right? They can dust off Terrence Davis again. They can just throw more minutes at the black hole, Buddy Hield. So a lot of different things they can do. So I do think Met 2 is more playable though with Bagley out. Brunson makes for a good value, right? If Luka Doncic out, he's going to play probably close to 35 minutes and dominate the usage there. So he looks good. Grayson Allen or Gabe Vincent? I'm going to say Gabe Vincent, but Grayson Allen should get more shot attempts up. The only issue with Grayson Allen is he is pretty scoring dependent, so like the floor is there for him. I always hear you talk about Sengun, and today looks like an amazing night to roster. Yeah, I mean, I play this guy basically every single day in Summer League. I mean, you see what happened the last couple of games, right? The minutes have ticked up a bit. 23 and then 25. And you see the production, 38 and 30 fantasy points. So I've been hammering this home all season. Like, why is he not getting more minutes? Like, what do the Rockets have to lose? Why you keep playing him 15 minutes off the bench? Give him more run. And they finally have last couple games, and you're seeing what he can do. So I think the way Sengun fails today is foul trouble, right? Look at the last 3 games. 4, 4, 5 fouls. Even going back to the Pelicans here. 5 fouls in 17 minutes. It's a real issue. So I think it's not going to be Sengun playing bad for the reason he fails, if he fails, it's going to be foul trouble. I think that is the way he is going to fail tonight, is if he gets in severe foul trouble, which is definitely possible. Right? He has struggled. That's his one issue this year, is he has really struggled with foul trouble. And obviously he's going to have to play more this game, so the foul trouble is more of an issue here than it was when he was playing like 15-ish minutes off the bench. Depends on the Heat starting lineup. I guess since Hero's been coming out the bench last couple games, I mean, you have like scoring dependent guys in Duncan and Struss, so it's hard to say because like it depends on who can hit their shots. I guess Gabe Vincent, because I think he plays 30-plus minutes no matter what. It's weird that Miami's playing PJ over Dedmon so much with Adebayo. It seems like his floor is way up. The thing is, though, like I don't think they can go small here, right? Because they're playing against Embiid, and Embiid is expected to play. So I don't think they can play PJ Tucker at the 5. I think your GOAT 7 would get abused by Embiid. So you would think Dwayne Dedmon has to play more in this game. But I've said that a lot, and they've like continuously, like Dedmon's minutes are just really hard to try to figure out on a night-to-night basis. Thoughts on Josh Christopher? I think he's playable. He has pushed for 20-plus minutes the last couple games. I'm still not super confident in his minutes. Like, they can go to DJ Augustine. They have a lot of different options the Rockets can go to. So right now, more of just a large field tournament play for me. But, like, for example, if he ends up starting, then I have a lot more interest in a guy like Chris. Like, who's going to start here for Houston, right? It's Brooks at the point, Matthews at the 2, Tate at the 3, and then, like, do they start Sengun Tice? Or does, like, maybe KJ Martin start? Again, maybe Christopher starts. They go a little bit more small. I don't know. I really am not sure who they start. I would think they start 2 bigs against the 2 bigs for the Cavs, but can't say that for certain. Think Kenrich starts. I'm not sure. The Thunder, I never know what the Thunder are going to do. But I will say, if he does end up starting at only 3.5K, I think he makes for a pretty decent value. Like, Kenrich Williams is a guy that can kind of contribute in a lot of different ways. He can get rebounds. He can get some assists. He can get those blocks and steals. And obviously, it's an up-tempo game here against the Pelicans. So if he does end up starting, I think he's a pretty good value. Buying low in your favorite players, Bridges and Harrison Barnes. I will not be, especially with the Hornets almost at full health now, right? They're still missing LaMelo and Ish. But, their price points are up from when a lot of guys were out. So, I'm not as high on Bridges. And then Harrison Barnes, I mean, he shot I think he started 0 of 10 or something. It was something really, really bad that last game. 1 of 9. 1 of 9 shooting, plus they got blown out. I mean, if I was going to pick between the two, I would rather go to Harrison Barnes over Miles Bridges. But, it's 2 guys that I'm not super fond of, right? We talked about that, how they were both just the best players to ever play the first month of the season. Like Harrison Barnes averaging 40. Both those guys were averaging 45 fancy points a game. And now we're finally getting them coming back down to earth. And Harrison Barnes does this every year, right? He tricks people into thinking he's a good basketball player. He goes for he averages 45 fancy points a game for the first month for the last 3 seasons. And then he goes back to Harrison Barnes of old, where he just stands in the corner and has a super low floor and is not a good basketball player. Bamba's out. Yep. So I don't think once that is an early game, so we will get that starting lineup before lock. Again, if I had to guess, it would be Robin Lopez that picks up the start, but let's see. Oh, okay, never mind. So, Bamba out. They're actually starting Wendell Carter Jr. at the 5, and they're starting Okiki at the 4. Okay. So, that's interesting. Carter Jr. playing the 5 does, boost his floor and ceiling, but, he's also 7.5K. So, it's not like we're getting him at a discount here. The guy that does become interesting, in my opinion, is Chuma Okeke. He's 3.2K. With him starting, I would think he plays at least mid-20s minutes. Now, production, not been amazing, but at this price point, he doesn't need a ton to pay off the salary. So I think Okeke is one of many value plays we can consider on this 11-game slate. Not one I'm like looking to lock and load, but I do think he's now someone we can consider. You look at anyone from Memphis, Portland, I think that's a good game for tournaments, right? I don't know if one stands out or a player stands out here for cash games, but as I always say with the top 3 guys here from Memphis, which I like, Triple J, high variance player because of foul trouble, but like the ceiling is 50 plus fantasy points. Dylan Brooks, a high variance player because he's so score independent. And then Desmond Bane has been relatively consistent. He's probably been the most consistent of the 3, but he's still shown a little bit of a floor as well. So like those 3 I like a good amount here for tournaments. I don't think they're going to get a ton of ownership, but all 3 do have upside. So those 3 look decent. And then obviously on the Portland side, I think Dame makes for a decent contrarian spend up. He played 47 minutes last night. 47. I'm sure it was overtime, but 42 in regulation is insane. I don't know if he gets that many minutes on a back-to-back, but yeah, that game does look pretty appealing. Okeke with the start. Yep. Guys, we're at about 100 concurrent viewers. Appreciate that. Only about 20 likes. Can we get to... We'll try to aim for 40 likes here. Appreciate that. Porzingis or Jokic better for cash? Depends on how much good value we have opening up here. If there's enough value that you feel good about, then I would rather spend all the way up for Jokic. But if the value is still a little bit shaky, then I think going more that balanced build with Porzingis makes more sense. So it kind of depends on how confident you are with the value on the slate for which is the better cash game option, right? But yeah, a little bit surprised with Kiki starting against a big Hawks front court. We'll see what he can do. Running a little bit slow here. Okay, so we got some 76ers news. Korkmaz is out. Embiid and Seth Curry game time decisions. Now, I expect Joel Embiid to play. He went through shoot around. So my assumption is he does play. Seth Curry, I think status more up in the air. He missed the last game, was a late scratch. So, and we will, that is a 7 o'clock game. So we will get that news before lock as well. So we don't really have to sweat that one, which is nice. Let's see. Struss and Brogdon or Reddish plus Portis? That's a good question. I will say the second one, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I do like Brogdon here in a revenge game narrative. I don't think any of these Pacers get a ton of ownership. But like Brogdon, we know he can go for 50, right? And he's a guy who can stuff the stat sheet. With all the other, really good plays around Brogdon's price range, it will keep his ownership low. So, again, I like him for tournaments. I do. But I think a small lean to that second option. Again, Reddish did play. He was no longer in a minutes limit last game, and he played 28 minutes. So that's pretty good to see for Reddish. Plus, again, he is sub 4K. So one of the many value plays we can consider in that range. All right, let's see. Where else are we at? I think we're all updated to date on questions right now. Let's take a look at some of these Vegas odds. So Hawks Magic is at 223.5 over under. That is on the higher end. The Hornets Spurs, is this the highest one? Oh no, the Wizards Kings is 226.5. Hornets Spurs is 225.5, and Nuggets T-Wolves is 224. That Miami one looks to be the lowest over-under of the slate. Miami and Philly, which kind of makes sense, right? Miami's a good defensive team, even though they're missing pieces. And Philadelphia doesn't really play at a super fast pace. With Korkmaz and Yang out, are there any good bench players you like? I mean, there's some playable options, right? You have Danny Green, who I puke in my mouth every time I recommend this guy, but probably plays 20 plus minutes. He's super, super score independent. Shake Milton at 4-4 might push for mid 20s minutes as well. So those guys are playable. Now, if Seth Curry gets ruled out, you would think one of those two move into the starting lineup there. So that would be something to keep an eye on for sure. Patreon, yeah, you can message me on Patreon. It renews, so it's when you sign up and on the first of the month. But if you have any issues, just shoot me a message there. Unfortunately, that's just the way Patreon does things. It's pretty annoying for my business, not gonna lie. Do you like Terrence Davis with Marvin Bagley out? I mean, that's what I said. He might be in the rotation. He was basically out of the rotation last game. I mean, he's productive when he's on the court, right? He is. So I think there's a chance he gets some run in this game, but it's not something I'm like super confident in. How necessary is Brunson at that price? A lot of good plays in the 7 to 8K range. He's not a must. Like he looks good. He definitely looks like one of the more optimal plays in that price range for sure. But it's not like you have to play Jalen Brunson. Like you said, there's a lot of good plays in that 7 to 8K range, and that brings up my point last night where ownership in GBPs, especially the higher stakes tournaments, like single entry stuff, it gets like almost too condensed on the good plays, whereas the pivots, even though they're like slightly suboptimal, come in at a fraction of the ownership and give you a pretty big edge. So it's not like you have to play Brunson on the slate. It's an 11 gamer. There's other options you can go to, and there's a chance like maybe he only goes for like 30, 35 fantasy points. Monte Morris, man, is really consistent. Always goes under-owned. What's his price at again? He's 5'8". It's getting to the point where it just feels priced about right. Like he can still have upside at his price, but like I think there's too many guards kind of in that mid-range that I think have a lot more upside. So Garland is one good example there as a nice pivot off of some of the chalkier options. Like Brunson is a little bit cheaper than him, but say for example, Drew Holiday, right? Him and Garland are almost identical price points. Well, what do you guess ownership is going to be for those two, especially in high stakes, right? If Middleton gets ruled out, Holiday 80% owned, and Garland probably 5%, right? I'm not talking the big $10 tournament. This would be in like higher stakes stuff. So he's one where it's like if you're building a chalky lineup and you need some lower owned pieces, you can make that swap. It's definitely slightly suboptimal, but you never know. Maybe the Bucks get blown out, something weird happens, Drew gets in foul trouble. A lot of things can happen. Monty Brooks and Jokic or Brunson and Embiid. Monty Brooks, Jokic or Brunson and Embiid. That's a good question. It's going to be the first one for me, though. Caleb, what's up, man? LeVert going overlooked now that his minutes production are up. Same price as Brunson, I believe. Yeah, so he's one where it's like he's definitely suboptimal to Brunson, but going to come in at a fraction of the ownership. The minutes have ticked up on him, right? 37 back-to-back games, so I don't have an issue if you want to go there. Any interest in Derek White? A little bit because of the matchup. I wish those Spurs were a little bit cheaper in Murray, White, and Pirtle because they're all in a great spot here against Charlotte. But the issue is like I think that's Derek White's highest price point of the year at 7.2, so he can still get it done, but the price does not stand out. Okiki, Struss, Tice, good values. Good for values. Yeah, I mean, keep an eye on the Houston starting lineup. Struss, the one thing I will say, though, is he's kind of like Duncan Robinson, the fact of, like, he has to hit his shots to get value, but he's also almost min-priced. White outscored Holiday tonight at $300 cheaper, much lower ownership. Yeah, so there's one where it's like, if that's a take you feel really good about, then go for it. Because if Derek White does end up outscoring Drew Holiday, you're going to have a massive edge to the field. You're going to have a massive edge. Like, I felt pretty strong last night about going to those lower owned nets in tournaments because I knew the ownership was going to be all over the starters of Claxton, Blake Griffin, David Duke. So I went to Kessler Edwards, who was a smash at like 5%. I went to Day'Ron Sharp, who was smashing, but for some reason only played 13 minutes. Steve Nash, the worst ever. So that didn't really end up working out for me, but like in a situation where the minutes, like Claxton could have gotten foul trouble. They could have limited Blake Griffin's minutes still. There's a lot of question marks there where I didn't really agree with Claxton, Blake Griffin getting 70+% ownership and Kessler Edwards, Day'Ron Sharp getting 5%. Does Gobert get exposed against the Clippers? I mean, they're not going to. It's not the playoffs where they will consider taking Gobert off the court. Like, he's gonna play his minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. So, and the Clippers are not gonna go small. I don't think. Like, I think they're gonna stick with Zubac and Hartenstein. So I don't think Gobert gets exposed. Now his price point doesn't stand out, but I don't think he gets exposed. Sengun a must with no would think he sees 24 minutes at the very least. So I like him a lot. You guys know I'm a huge Sengun fan. I've been talking about that all year. My worry is foul trouble, right? Because in limited action, he's been in foul trouble a lot. Just take a look at the last few games here. 25 minutes, 5 fouls. 23 minutes, 4 fouls. 16 minutes, 4 fouls. 17 minutes, 5 fouls. Right? So in limited action, he's averaging like 3-4 fouls in like 15 minutes. That's a little bit concerning at this price point. So if he gets in massive foul trouble in this game, that's where he's going to fail. Now, if Sengun stays out of foul trouble and plays 25+ minutes, I think he's going to be a really good value. But there's that decent chance he gets in foul trouble tonight. Cole Anthony versus Atlanta, his previous stats show up. Yeah, I like Cole Anthony. I don't think he'll be super popular. A nice pivot off of some of the chalk on the slate. He's the one guy for the Magic where in a competitive, if the game stays competitive, it's most likely Cole Anthony having a pretty good game. He does have triple-double upside. He's been great at stuff in the stat sheet, so I think he's a good tournament play. Blake even started out bad, just had a hot second half plus OT. Exactly, yeah. Blake, I think, had like 5 fantasy points in the first half. And I was like looking good. I was like so happy. I'm like, yes, this night's going to be amazing. I have Day'Ron Sharp smashing. I have Kessler Edwards smashing. And then Blake hits like 4 threes to start the second half and then gets overtime as well. I was pretty sad. Would you rather fade Lowry, Drew, or Brunson? That's a really good question. I don't have a good answer. I guess Brunson, because then you can just go up to Porzingis if you're not playing Brunson. I'd rather go to Tice than Sengun, lower ownership and cheaper, right? So I think Tice is safer. I do think Daniel Tice is safer. He doesn't have as much upside, I don't think, but he's someone that doesn't. I mean, he can get in foul trouble, but he doesn't have the issues of Sengun where Sengun's constantly fouling. Like Daniel Tice, yeah, the minutes have been amazing in him, but this could be a game where he just has to play more. And if Sengun gets in foul trouble and is chalk, then Daniel Tice could crush at pretty low ownership. Now, I'm not sure if Sengun's going to be the chalk, but I do think you go to Daniel Tice. I think they could go to KJ Martin as well, who we know was a guy that we were playing at like, 8K last year at the end of the year for the Rockets because they were just so thin. So obviously he has upside. Played 27 minutes last game. So like Tice, KJ Martin, also values we can consider here. Like Towns versus Denver by a mile, is that the wrong process to have Towns versus Denver? I mean, in my opinion, his price doesn't stand out, but if that's something you feel really good about and you want to go to him for low ownership, I'm not going to say no. It's just the 10.2K price with D'Angelo Russell most likely playing, it doesn't stand out. Thoughts on Kleber? I think Kleber's an interesting contrarian value play, right? Because last couple games here without Luka, 30 and 29 minutes. And this is a big Lakers front court. So I think Kleba is an interesting value play. I would think he gets close to that 30-minute mark. I don't think a lot of people play him. So a little bit interested in Kleba. Are you playing Lowry? I haven't built my lineup yet. I usually build it 15 to 30 minutes before lock. Is Jokic too expensive with so many good mid-range plays? If there's enough good value you feel good about, then go up and get Jokic. If the value you're looking to you don't feel great about, then just settle on that mid-range. So if Tice starts, would think he would be the chalk. Yeah, I would think so too. I would think he'll get a decent amount of ownership if he starts. But they might start both. Like they might start Tice and Sengun because it's a big Cavs front court. What's the optimal build? Again, right now, I'll say balanced. But if there's enough value that you feel really good about, then you can possibly go up and get one of those guys at the very top. All right, guys, we're at about 120 concurrent viewers, 40 likes. Appreciate all your support, guys. Again, make sure just to hit the like button if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you haven't already. Getting somewhat close to that 11K mark on YouTube. Actually did go over the 30-minute. I'll stay on for another 5-10 minutes here, answer any more questions you guys have. Got first live stream back in about a week here, so thank you guys again for coming in and checking out the live stream. Let's see, Josh Christopher, Max Struss for cheap value. Yeah, I think it would be a small lean to Max Struss. I think the Rockets can still do a few different things with their rotations, whereas the Heat, I think Struss has to play good minutes tonight. So I think it would be Struss for me, but for example, if Josh Christopher ends up starting, then it's a different conversation. But right now, I think it's a small lean there to Struss. Play Jokic every slate, NDK if I can get to him this one. I get it. I get it too. I've basically been just jamming in Jokic every single slate as well. This one, it's a little bit tougher, especially with a lot of those good plays in the mid-range. Now, the positive for tournaments is I do think it's going to lower the ownership. Last slate for Jokic in higher stakes tournaments, I think he was 72% in my $100 single entry. So what I think, because it's a little bit harder to get to him in this slate, it's going to keep his ownership lower, which is actually a good thing for tournaments. All right, let's see. Let me refresh Underdog, see if we got any more news here. Daniel House without timetable to return. Same with Kevin Porter Jr. Again, Wood out, Gordon out as well. Matisse Thybulle will remain in the starting lineup. Okay. All right, guys. Any other questions? Again, I can stay live for another couple minutes if need be. But I think we're basically up to date and everything. All right, well, let's see. Last slate in lower stakes, Jokic was 54%. LOL. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be popular. Well, he's basically going to be popular every single slate, but I think if not a lot of great value opens up, he'll be lower owned tonight, I think, than he was last slate. That's an Okiki with him starting. I think a fair value play. Not a great point per minute guy, but would think he plays at least 25 minutes in that starting lineup. And at close to min price, definitely someone you can consider for salary relief. Powell or Brooks at small forward FanDuel. I'm going to be Dillon Brooks for me. Both are honestly pretty similar players. It's the Spider-Man gif. They're going to play big minutes, and both are scoring dependent. So it kind of comes down to who ends up hitting their shots. But, yeah, small lean to Brooks there with Ja out. Rockets have 10 players. Okay. Which team's getting blown out? Probably the team that I'm most overweight to. Just need some more news. Good luck, DK, and thanks. Yeah, of course, man. What do you think about fading Brunson? I think it's doable. You can definitely fade him. He's not a must. But he does stand out as a pretty good play at his price. we have a problem with KJ and Sengun in the same lineup where they're cutting in each other's upside too much. No, it's fine. Like I think they could. I think KJ can get it done in like mid-20s minutes, and same with Sengun. So that's totally fine playing them both together. But all right, guys, I'm gonna call it on that. So again, appreciate all you guys coming to check out the live stream. Good luck on this 11-game slate. As always, monitor Twitter. Right, there's gonna be a lot of probably more news that breaks, late scratches. So be ready to make some changes, guys. And I hope you guys all win some big money. I will be back here tomorrow. So make sure to check out live stream tomorrow, and then keep an eye on the video up for tomorrow's slate tonight. But good luck, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.